Anytime you hear bones crash and the guy's wheeling on the ground in pain, it's sort of it's nice. It's a sexual thing for me. I enjoy it.
That's right. Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling Episode 10, Identity Crisis. Today with me, I have a very special guest. Bret the Hitman Short is in the studios. How you doing, Bret?
I'm pretty good, man. It's pretty good being he's probably one of the best wrestlers of all time, right? I think that's fair to say, Bret the Hitman Hart. So
yeah,
to have that
he was technically
name.
sound.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of a whiner, a little bit of a bit.
Oh,
Never mind. I can't say that. Don't, come on, Bret. He's had a lot of family tragedy.
Dude, it's hard to say that when the motherfucker wrestled bears, right?
Oh, yeah, he did. Did you know about that, Fred?
Yeah,
who did?
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, up in Canada.
Yeah, his dad would
that
bring...
makes sense.
Yeah. They bring, like, what, Kodiak bears and shit? Like,
yeah, little baby bears.
Canucks, man. They're all about the...
Yeah. We want to take that B word back for wrestling bears. Maybe
yeah, bears. That's what I meant to say, of course.
Bears, right.
Bret also is a member of the local podcast community. Give us a little bit of info on your show.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I have this ridiculous podcast called Stalin and the Absurdity Junkies, and
I like it.
yeah, it's especially if you're a big Gigi Allen fan, like I'm sure Justin is.
Needle up my cock.
Suck my ass, it smells.
Yeah,
that or tour of the arts.
Is this all real stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's real. That's a real song.
Sren, you're not aware of Gigi Allen?
Okay,
no.
Okay, that's why you're so creeped out by the logo. That's what makes it a little more. Just so for the kids out there, don't show them from the kids.
Don't listen to this episode if you're a child.
Oh, definitely, especially with the first.
If you do, you'll probably burn in hell.
Pretty much, but Gigi Allen is
probably the most punk rock figure.
Yeah, like when people talk about Sid Vicious, it's like, dude, he's a choir boy compared to Gigi Allen. Like, get that shit.
Gigi Allen, I believe he was the Antichrist. I think he really was.
I'll Google it because I feel like everybody knows.
Be careful when you Google.
Me.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna warn you right now. Any fucked up thing you can think of,
Gigi did
that involves like
Bret
urine, feces, drugs.
Oh, that's adorable.
And penetration. Then it's.
The guy
you've been warned.
Right. This just gave me an idea. The guy's had multiple hospital visits due to blood poisoning because of just the way he lived.
Yeah, but we love Gigi here.
Oh yeah.
At JP Dub.
And then mixed with Stalin, another great one in history. It's a hell of a podcast, but it's basically media and politics.
Don't want to talk about politics.
Which sounds boring and basic, I know, but don't worry. With my two colorful friends, we make it a very, very ridiculous time.
What do you mean by colorful?
Personalities that are very unique.
Oh, that's what I thought you meant.
Speaking of, we have one of the episodes to check out is about Birth of a Nation. We watched that movie and talk about it with my actual friend of color, Kenny. It was episode 8.
Nice plug.
7 or 8, yeah.
Way to plug yourself on my show, asshole.
I was almost like I was set up to do that, Justin.
Yeah. I like it.
Let's talk about your show and how great it is.
It's the best. It's
Pretty
the
much.
best. Sometimes we like to do it just for fun.
Yeah, because I'm not much of a wrestling guy. Still totally entertained.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. So you're doing a good job then.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
but I will say, because we mentioned it before, Ultimate Warrior promos are just high-end art. Like, that shit is transcendent. Yes. Like, my freaking...
Speak to me, warriors!
The exit signs are blown out.
Exit stage left, exit stage right. All the exit signs have been blown up.
You can lay in the ground in the lawn and get run over by lawnmowers.
Yeah. Or go to Africa and be trampled by raging elephants.
Right, dude. I have like these artsy friends that would never that would never even watch a wrestling match because that's there, and they were like, "This is amazing." We watched it like 40 times in a row. Yeah, because like I said, it's transcendent art.
Yeah,
Ultimate War is the shit.
Well, and that's that's basically the whole thing for this podcast is that it is kind of allocated to pro wrestling, but pro wrestling
all things
is
extreme.
Yeah, it is pop culture, and it mixes into everything, whether it's movies, music, TV. and mixed martial arts, which we're going to get into, and that's the topic for today. That's kind of why I gave it the tag identity crisis, because you've kind of
one. I was wondering how with the name.
Yeah,
is good. I
was just kind of on the cusp. I was on the in the Oval Office taking care of some business, and it just kind of came to me, not on me, but to me.
That's for later.
Fucking guys, I love you. You're the best. But yeah, you've had a lot in history, and this list you compiled here was just kind of blew my mind.
Not me. That's my buddy Ed. Big props to Ed for doing our
Ed. What's Ed's last name?
Davini from Parts Unknown himself.
Parts Unknown?
Exactly. Yes. If you knew his house, it's about what Parts Unknown would look like.
Really? There's bones hanging from the ceiling? And
Pretty much. I'm sure there's a few bones in there
The
somewhere.
smell's kind of off-putting?
Oh, it's an off-putting smell, all right.
It's a foul. The cryptic stench. Foul odor. What do you think, Demon Boy? Is it foul?
I don't know. Demon Boy's like, that's a circle of hell I haven't been to yet.
Yeah, our little pre-show ritual, occasionally I like to summon up the Demon Boy, and he happened to just appear today, so you guys get a little taste of the Demon Boy once again, so prepare yourself for that. What's your favorite condiment, Demon Boy?
Pubic hair.
All right. So getting back to...
I was going to say that's a pretty good segue into somebody who deserves to go to hell.
Yeah.
This character I'm really excited to tell you about today. His name is Joe Son, and you actually do know him because he's of Korean ethnicity, but then he was raised in America. All right. You already know him because he was in Austin Powers, the first movie.
Wait. Oh, is he the Asian guy with the hat?
Yep,
the hat.
Yeah, what they call
his name?
Something Task. It was because it was the thing of Odd Job. Like Odd Job was the guy he was based on, and then he was.
Every time I hear Odd Job, it just makes me think of Blowjob. I'm sorry.
Like they call that a serious villain, Odd Job.
I'd like to meet his sister.
Well, it gets a little unfunny. Well, okay, so. He has an 0-4 record in MMA.
Okay.
And he's has one wrestling match in Japan that talk about racial tensions. It's
what,
an
the
absurd.
Japanese don't like the Koreans?
No. Oh no. Like what he comes out as, it's like so many different culture weird things. And he also, I think there's another match where he came out carrying a cross.
So he's an amalgam of absurdities.
Exactly. Like the Gigi Stalin Absurdity podcast. Cheap plug. So, and then I'll get back to his MMA career because that'll be a lightener we'll need because I got to talk about his dark past real quick.
Is it on the dark web?
Yeah, I'm sure he has a few entries on the dark web because he was arrested in California years after this incident when they found his DNA.
His crop of children?
No, it was a crazy story just how they got that alone itself. But him and this other man, I don't know how graphic in detail you want me to get. I'm not or at least what bad words I can say here. But he's in prison for a long time. Long time.
Who Joe Song is?
Yes, Joe Son.
Was he a child of rape?
Him and this guy kidnapped this woman and did about all the horrendous shit that you could do to somebody.
Well, what a piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
we
exactly.
love women here at JP Dub. We'd never treat you ladies like that because you the best.
He also got attempted murder, but she somehow escaped. God bless her. And
who's that you were just talking about?
Oh, the woman, their victim.
Oh, you said God. Never mind.
Yeah, keep the G word out of here. Sorry.
I am God. So Joe Sung, piece of shit. Horrible segue. First guy to get into, Brett. I'm disappointed.
Well, no. What I was going to say.
Way to set the tone.
No. So to lighten the tone, so you have this miserable monster, right? He is famous for being in the it was UFC 2 or UFC 1 for getting punched in the nuts 6 times in a row.
Oh, who did he fight?
What was the man he fought? It might have been one of the Gracies or something like that, but it was, what was his name? I'm sorry. But all you got to do is just YouTube nut shots, and you get to see a huge monster get punched in the nuts 6 times.
There's one thing I want to let you know here at JP Dub. Whenever we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, you just send everybody to Googler. Take cares of a lot, right, Stratton?
Yeah, just everybody's assistant.
Google it.
Yeah.
So my question is, you've seen the footage of that?
Yes.
Is the person punching was he fast-handed, lightning hands?
He was speed bagging those nuts.
They were.
I wonder how much
he had him on his side, and they were extreme power shots. Let's just say that.
So they were slower shots.
Nice kick to the face.
He had Joe Sun's arms wrapped up, so he had all the time in the world to just blast away. Nuts. He had and another how bad his MMA career was he had another one where he actually came into the ring and just walked right back out.
That's what I do when I go in the ring.
It's like, okay, I'm in over my head. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Right. So, but he did wrestle too?
Yes.
Was he Mr. Fuji's twin brother or something?
He had this crazy rap character.
Oh my god!
Like I'm saying, it's a hot mess.
So far, I don't like what I'm hearing about Joe Sun.
Oh no, that's why he's considered because we're going to start off with who are the most least successful in both categories or both different fighting styles.
That's the point of today. Is a lot of wrestlers have crossed over into MMA and vice versa. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of MMA guys try their hand at pro wrestling, and the thing I have to say about that just real quick is when you want to talk about over in the past 10 years, MMA has blown up, but I think it has kind of died down a little bit because
thank you, Conor.
Yeah, there's no top stars. You got Conor is taking in the wrestling aspect as far as promoting himself,
of course,
which is cool.
But taking it to a whole
I just seen
sorry, go ahead.
I seen The Rock. I think it was on Instagram or Twitter saying he was just watching that Netflix documentary on Conor, and he was giving him props. Basically for saying, hey, man, you came out here, you promoted yourself, you did, whether it was absurd or not, he made some money and a name for himself.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So much respect to him for that, even though he has done some wacky shit. I don't really care for him, but he does bring that wrestling element, which is what MMA misses. And I think a lot of those guys have, for example, Ronda Rousey, guys and gals, have grown up watching wrestling, and we're huge fans.
Sure.
Like I said, wrestling kind of transcends everything.
Although I don't know if you really got it from wrestling, though. I think it's just how you are from the streets of Ireland.
Maybe, but I've seen interviews where Conor he's like, oh, much respect to Vinnie Mac and Vince McMahon. Those are the OGs and Stone Cold and The Rock and them guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, back in those days, I don't care, man. You're a fucking liar if you said you didn't watch wrestling or at least were around.
Who doesn't know who Stone Cold and The Rock is?
Hell yeah.
Can I get a hell yeah? But
shout out to Stone Cold.
Right. I mean, he still has a huge successful podcast now, right?
Yeah. He's what is it? It's just Stone Cold podcast. Yeah, Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. They're on podcast one.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
But you want my hot conspiracy take on Conor?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that motherfucker's on amphetamines, and that explains a lot of behavior.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, because especially if you see him when he was on.
I mean, when you're really rich like that, drugs are fucking your best friend.
Right.
Not your dog.
Not your dog. But
I was waiting for it.
But the ultimate, on the Ultimate Fighter, when he's talking, you can see all these kind of tics happening and shit like that. And I have no other way to explain his behavior, which I was a big fan of Conor until it's like, oh, I get what people mean now. He's a piece of crap.
He's a piece of shit.
Huge dog pile, especially after what he did. I'm sure with the.
You know what? You're talking about where he had a warrant out and everything in New York, where he was trying to he threw a chair at some dude.
You threw it a fucking industrial dolly at a bus window and shattered glass. And
that's fucked up. I don't condone the activity, but in a way, I mean, I kind of thought it was fucking awesome because it fits his character of who he is. He's fucking insane.
I would agree. It would have been kind of awesome if it was actually towards people that he was angry at.
Right.
But
all innocence.
Habib Nurmagomedov and his partner, who the people were he was mad at and why he was fighting, none of them were there that day.
Yeah. Shame on you, Conor. You're a bad man.
It's like the
you a bad man.
Yeah, a little too bad. So anyway, we'll let's go to our next shit show. Not nearly as dark.
Who? Jerry Flynn from WCW, the King Mullet. There's a pecking order in mullets, and he was number one.
No, this guy is Astabantero, and I just want to mention this is a really funny clip too that you can watch.
Okay,
he was a sumo wrestler that tried MMA.
Really,
sumo? Oh yeah, sumo wrestler. He was a Yokozuna. He was up there, but he was even bad for a Yokozuna.
Yokozuna.
Exactly.
There's only one. He did.
Right. He's so dead. Actually, there was actually quite a few Yokozunas.
You know what?
Wrestling.
No, there was only one Yokozuna. Okay? God damn it!
Calm down.
Shit!
Wasn't he one of the natural disasters, right?
No, Yokozuna
was his own thing. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert.
You gonna get fucked up, son. We're fucking crazy here.
Shit.
You come into our house talking that shit? We talk some shit back.
I thought we were going to have a friendly discussion.
But there was
and those fellas just kept yelling.
Typhoon, though, right?
He put me in a Joey Ryan dong lock. No, there was only one Yokozuna. He was actually Samoan. He was The Rock's cousin.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that because that was ridiculous. They're calling him Yokozuna.
Right.
All right.
But a Yokozuna in sumo wrestling that's like a term.
Right. It's
Yokozuna is like the highest you can
yeah.
reach. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So he was one of those. But however, he had a fighting match with good old Don Fry, who we should probably talk about as well.
You know what? Don Fry was awesome. He looked just like Dan Severn.
Oh, exactly.
They were like twin brothers.
Ed and I were having back and forth of like, are you sure you mean Dan Severn? Are you sure you mean Don Fry? Like, they're just that fucking mustache power.
Yeah, I love that mustache.
Oh, yeah, beyond ultimate. So, so you get to see super fit Don Fry fight this fat motherfucker. And
Jesus, you're disrespectful, man. Dan is shredding. Look at this guy.
That's kind of the point, right?
Where do you dig up these people shredding?
I weigh 350 pounds. How dare you?
Well, this guy weighs a good 600, I'm guessing.
Hold up, listen to this.
Oh,
that's an ice cold LaCroix mango, baby.
Juice just broke his fingernails.
Fuck with Croy. But yeah, it would be hilarious. Like Don Fry. Yeah, Don Fry would rock him in the head a few times, and this dude would just lay on him and just press him up against the ropes and just like,
very homosexual.
Take my fat sweaty body. And Don Fry like, get the fuck off of me.
I wrestled for 3 years.
Shit!
In my younger years, yeah. Freestyle wrestling. Here's the thing: as a young wrestling fan, of course, we all know, or at least can assume why I got into it. Because I thought it was going to be hit motherfuckers with chairs and drop kick at people and all that, suplexes.
You're like, where's the barbed wire, man?
Needless to say, I was very disappointed and I can't believe I even stuck it out for as long as I did.
It's
to find out that I had to wear this singlet that at the time, I'm really young, so my little dink is just kind of protruding through the thing is really embarrassing. I'm a grower, not a shower. And not only that, but just like these dudes, man, all sweaty, and you're wearing like you're basically naked, know. And it's very off-putting. I think I only won one match, in all these tournaments.
You're distracted by the whole
I ended up just going to the tournaments to buy the collectibles. So they have wrestling cards. I remember Michael Jordan in the White Sox uniform cards with in a plaque or some shit, like stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm sorry, that just ADD podcast here.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure you're frustrated. It's like, I'm still waiting to get a hug from a girl, and I got to be all these sweaty guys all the time.
Yeah, they were hugging the shit out of me. I didn't like it. Fucking biceps bigger than me, motherfuckers. It's all right, though, because Juice Pro Wrestling is on top of the world right now. Don Fry. So we're getting back to Don Fry.
Don Fry. Yeah.
Don Fry!
Yeah, I don't know much about his wrestling career. Do you have any awesome highlights? What did he contribute to the
you know what? I don't really know. If we were to, we'll segue into Dan Severn from him, because I don't. Dan Severn, I do know.
Oh yeah.
Was legit. I mean, he was the first UFC. Well, he was there in the beginning, right, for UFC.
Oh yeah. He almost beat. He was almost the first to beat a Gracie.
And Demon Boy actually has a Dan Severn action figure.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah, and the title and the old title belt.
I like to think it takes like a half a bottle of paint just to paint one mustache.
I don't know whose mustache was better, him or Rick Rude's, though.
Ooh. Although Don Fry's is kind of better than everybody. That thing is like 3 levels stacked.
Well, you haven't seen Magnum TA then.
All right.
Or the Hulkster,
brother. Oh, well, Hulkster's got the length, right?
Oh, yeah. He got the girth, too, from what I hear.
True.
From what TMZ tells me. Going back to Dan Severn, though, he was actually legit NWA World's Champion at one point. I know, did he get hurt? He was a tag team, I think, with Owen Hart. And he was in the WWF back in like pre or kind of in the Attitude Era days.
Right.
I think he fucked his neck up, if I remember correctly. And he was out for a long time. And he ended up getting cut from WWF and went back to MMA. He was doing a lot of shit out in Japan, too. And like I said, he came in. I think when he came in the WWF, he was the NWA World's Champion because they tried doing like a. Yeah. This was maybe with Jim Cornette back in the day, and they would always do invasion angles, like
sure.
Even the original ECW before they were super huge did an invasion angle. And Dan Severn came in and was like this legit badass who was NWA World's Champion. He was UFC champion.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
bad motherfucker.
Yeah. So shout out to Dan Severn. We love you. You're a beast, man. The beast.
Kisses. Oh, we're not doing that? Sorry.
Stratton's in love over here.
Oh, boy.
Here's another one I'm looking at this list. So I think we kind of threw out the whole format of like, you know, least successful.
Yeah.
Because Dan Severn, I wouldn't say he was not successful because, I mean, to be the NWA World's Champion, that belt has the most lineage and history out of any belt in all of professional wrestling. Yes.
Damn.
And for those of you, and we've been talking about, me and Stratton have been kind of keeping up and informing people with the NWA as what they're doing now because they're owned by, I don't know if you knew this, Bret the Hitman Short, but they are owned by Billy Corgan.
Yes, I did know that. And I thought it was like TNA or something he owned, but like that.
He was trying to buy.
He's in the
he was trying to, and that guy,
right?
and that didn't happen.
That's right.
Which I think it worked out better for him in the long run because what he's doing now with the NWA and bringing back that prestige and that big fight feel to one belt and having a traveling world's champion going to all these different promotions and being recognized as the world's champion. I love that. Makes me want to fucking flex right now. That shit gets me off, dude. Like, it's cool.
Of course.
And to find out, last week we were talking about the All In event in September at the Sears Center put on by the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes. And they had announced, Billy Corgan came on and announced that he was going to have the NWA world title being defended there, and Cody Rhodes announced he was challenging for it, which I've said before was really cool because Dusty Rhodes, we all know, the American Dream, Cody's dad was NWA world champion. So story-wise, that's fucking really cool shit.
Oh, absolutely. And then like, because you need like a mountaintop, right?
Right.
You need they need to have more structure. And fucking UFC's falling into that trap of like they're having all these interim belts and they're just like, you know, and like just throwing whatever's like the most eye-catching fight. Basically, they're having fucking freak shows, basically. Or at least,
they kind of need to do that because if you go back to the first UFC, there was no weight shit. It was like we're putting two guys together. That were like, it was just, you're going to fight. This is a fight. You could be 300 pounds and the guy could be 150, but he's a badass jiu-jitsu guy, and you'd be surprised to see. Yeah.
And, well, fuck two guys. It's your.
I don't want to do that.
Don't tell us what to do.
We tell you what to do.
Fine. 3 or 4. I didn't mean to lower the number.
She was a fine girl.
But no, well, speaking of multiple numbers, you had to fight multiple people that night.
Yes.
That's fucking
Ken Shamrock,
insane.
dude. Ken Shamrock. Here's another, that's a perfect segue into another guy.
Oh, good old Shamrock. Fuck yeah.
Ken was I would say very successful in both. I mean, obviously in UFC early on.
Save for later, stick to structure, but that's okay.
Yeah. Fuck the structure.
Fuck that structure.
And then going into WWE where he walked in, I think he had that Lion's Den match with Owen Hart, which I thought was a little weird, but it was still pretty cool. It was basically just somewhat of an octagonal. How do you say that? Octagonal?
You got it.
You know.
The octagon thing.
Yeah, cage set around on like concrete or some shit, and they were him and Owen Hart were going at it. It was actually pretty entertaining. I remember as a kid back in the day. But he was, long story short, Ken Shamrock became Intercontinental Champion. I think he was a tag champ at one point. I could be wrong. So don't hate me, guys out there. You can let me know in the comments section if I'm fucking wrong or not and correct me. I'd appreciate it. But, and then I had heard, I've seen a lot of interviews from Ken talking about how he was set up to do a program with The Rock to kind of get I don't know if it was necessarily a world title run, but a shot in a program with The Rock, which would have been huge for him.
Fuck yeah.
And
what happened to that poor Ken?
I don't know the logistics of what happened. I think he just ended up being released from the company or quitting or whatever it was and going back to MMA. Okay. But here we go into, he did some more MMA and then fast forward to, I think it was like 2002 or whenever TNA, Jeff Jarrett had TNA start.
Yeah.
The first, because what they were working with the NWA. So it was NWA TNA. TNA didn't have a straight up, at the time, TNA World Championship. They were utilizing the NWA's titles. Like, so if you were in TNA and you won the tag belts, you were NWA Tag Champions or NWA World Champion.
Right.
So I don't know if it was the first pay-per-view or what, where they crowned the NWA champ, but Ken Shamrock ended up winning that, and he was the first NWA TNA world champion. Just a little history to throw that out for you guys, too, you know?
Professor Wallace, please continue.
Yeah. And then, after that, mainly from what I know, I mean, I don't keep up with MMA, UFC too much. I mean,
That's my job.
I follow it here and there, but it's just, it's not as entertaining. Like, and there's not enough big names for me in it. You know,
it's getting there though.
It's slowly starting to come back. But yeah, he came back, and we all know. I think he did some shit in Bellator. Where his last several fights, though. I mean, the guy's 50 something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so he went
Shamrock's
from being the most dangerous man on the planet to like, you know, I'm like kind of sort of still dangerous, and I'm 55. So he lost a lot, like the Tito Ortiz.
If my knee brace is just right, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, Tito Ortiz, who was another guy. We're talking about crossovers who tried his hand.
I didn't know Tito did wrestling. Jesus.
Well, he did and he didn't.
Okay.
He was in Impact TNA Wrestling. Probably 5 years ago or more. Then they brought him in to do some kind of shit with the Aces and Eights stable they had, and it basically was just a name drop thing. Like, oh, he appeared on here. What's he gonna do? And it was bullshit. You know, it was bad booking. We're just bringing him on because he's Tito. You know,
right.
His wife's a porn star and they have children.
Right, and he kind of looks like a California server.
Yeah,
that's gross.
Yeah, porn stars shouldn't have kids. I feel sorry for you children.
Aw.
So that before I say it again.
I know there've been some parents where I was like, you know what, that kid would have been better off with a porn star for her parents.
Yeah, so we just, you know, kind of went over Ken Shamrock here.
Well, we can go to a good segue into one of his first defeats was Mr. Motherfucking Boss Rutan.
Okay, yeah, Boss Rutan, another guy who wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
There's a guy who knew like what he could achieve, but the injury bug just hit him so hard. And
I like him on the mic though now.
Oh,
like
dude, he's amazing. Like, I don't think there's a single person. I would love to have like Joe Rogan confirm that for me.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Who loves fighting more than Boss Rutan?
Right.
Like when you hear
fight for your life.
Right. Like when you hear, keep in mind, I mean, how long this motherfucker's been in the trenches, basically, of everything, coaching, announcing, actual fighting and stuff like that. And he still talks about like an excited 6-year-old, like Justin talking about wrestling when he was like 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so pumped and hyped.
I like listening to him talk about liver shots.
Oh, yeah.
About liver
that
shots.
happened to good old Brock Lesnar when fucking Uberim. Actually, this time this was Uberim.
That was the last UFC pay-per-view I had bought, and I knew Brock was going to lose because he had that diverticulitis. Dude,
yeah.
You're going to get kicked.
And Uberim was not sensitive to that.
No, and
he went right for that.
He shouldn't be.
Absolutely,
Kick him in the
you
butthole?
should fucking be in here.
And no, he fucked him in his butthole, but then he kicked him in his
liver, right in the liver.
Oh, yeah.
And boss is just like, ha ha.
This is what happens when people start getting real.
Liver shot.
Good,
can you do a good boss?
No, I'll work on it though.
Oh yeah, boss. That's definitely a good one.
Boss? How do you say it? Boss or boss?
Boss. Actually, it's probably he actually said how you say his real name in
His last name.
Yeah, his last name.
What's his nationality?
Dutch.
Oh, nice. Just like the Van Halen boys.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. And funny story. Did you know he almost got into a fight with Brian Urkelacker? Speaking of
Urkelacker? He just said Brian Urkelacker.
Did I do that? You want some cheese, Brian?
Urkelacker.
So
how did he get into a fight with Brian?
Well, he almost got into a fight. They're at a club, and and he like bumped into Brian. Brian was like, "Motherfucker, you want to go?" And then his bodyguard like had to take Brian and of course Bronson's like, "Yes," and his bodyguard had been like, you don't want to do that. This is fucking Boss Rutan. Do not do this. He will fuck you up. I don't care how many.
He's got a full head of hair now.
Yeah. You don't want to ruin your nice new restore haircut.
Yeah, your weave, your Urlacher weave.
Go hang out with Ryan Sandberg instead, Brian.
Yeah.
But no, Mr. Urlacher. Urkelacker. Hey. On my podcast the other day, I said Dumbledore and Vanderbilt.
Vanderzeeb? Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt, indeed. The fucking king.
All right, so Boss Rutan. I'm gonna throw another guy I'm seeing on here right now. This is actually a pretty big name that I was unaware that did any sort of MMA is Jushin Thunder Liger.
I have no idea who that is. Please continue.
Legendary New Japan wrestler. If anybody see, Seren, you're aware of Jushin Thunder Liger, right? He wrestled in WCW back in the day. Red and white kind of costume, had like wore a mask and the horns kind of come out from the side. Yeah.
I'm super confident. I know who that is.
He's like, I really don't. What's super?
Know that motherfucker.
0-1 MMA record, which it says here
sticks to the great at one, bad at the other.
Yeah. Had matches in Japan and America. Which I believe that's just wrestling because MMA, I mean, he only had one loss, so I don't know. I'm looking at these notes here, and it's
that
kind
had
of
been a pretty bad loss.
Yeah, Jushin Thunder Liger. So for those of you that didn't know, that's another identity crisis right there. He wasn't quite sure at the time, but he stuck. It looks like he stuck with professional wrestling, which paid off. So
was he pretty entertaining? He was a pretty cool guy, wrestling wise.
Yeah, as well. He was mainly like in ring shit, but in Japan he was huge. Like they had like TV shows because they do their shit kind of like Mexico, where the luchadors are like a huge part of pop culture, and they're in all the movies. But they wear the mask still, and it's like a big part of their identity.
Which were you familiar with, Mr. Satoru Sayama, the Tiger Mask?
Tiger Mask, yes.
Oh fuck yes.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them now. I think I'm trying to think of who there is now. I think it's like a Tiger Mask 3 that's going on or something like that.
And just give you an idea of the pop culture and how it's into, because Tekken's King is based on him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And he just give me how badass he is. It's one thing to like you're not your base isn't fighting, but it's one thing to be like that, but to go into fighting, it's already balls enough, but he's still wearing the goddamn tiger mask while taking fucking head kicks.
Yeah, well, look at here's another guy that's on the list, Alberto Del Rio.
But I have to say, Tiger Mask was an awesome wrestler too.
Yeah, Tiger Mask was the shit,
dude. His I even like whoa when he does this like triple spin into a leg sweep, like a trip. It was fucking awesome.
Got you a little wet down there, didn't it?
Yeah,
a little wet pussy.
I could just watch it all day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mean Gene Bell.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Here's another guy. You guys, this is going to be a good one. Dr. Death Steve Williams. Mm-hmm. Apparently he did MMA. I knew he was a badass football player for the Oklahoma for the Sooners.
Oh no shit!
Back out, the Sooners. And Sretton, we've talked about this before. The Brawl for All. He was booked back in the late '90s. WWF did a boxing tournament that was supposed to be legit, but it was still somewhat determined, if you will.
Okay.
And anyway, they were going to push for Dr. Death to win. They wanted to build him into this badass. Mm-hmm. Well, then unexpectedly, Bart Gunn knocks him the fuck out. And that's, their plans. Their plans go to shit. And then, his Bart Gunn's treat for that was WrestleMania. He got the box butter bean, and then he got knocked the fuck out. Yeah, but I wanted to touch on that because I seen it on the list. I was actually a big fan of Dr. Death. I liked him a lot.
And which, if to the listeners, it feels like we're cheating looking at lists. It's a huge motherfucking list.
We're not even going to get to everybody.
Oh,
but,
not even close.
If we can give you guys, obviously we're going to throw out a few that everybody knows about, like Alberto Del Rio and
lots of them.
Brock Lesnar, which is the obvious. But we
got to save him best for last.
Yeah, giving you a couple of unknowns. Here's another one, Lady Tappa. Or Tapa, however you want to say it. She was a former TNA Impact Knockout and Global Force Wrestling. She's the daughter of the Barbarian from the Powers of Pain. I don't know if you guys are aware. I knew nothing about her MMA career. Her wrestling career sucked. She was very just shitty in the ring, but she's a huge girl. She looks just like, well, no, she's not the daughter. I'm sorry. I think that's her uncle. The Barbarian's her uncle, but she looks just like him, and she's a huge woman, dude.
Yeah.
She's really scary.
I was just thinking, because I don't know how much longer her fighting career will last, but Chris Cyborg, who's like easily the most powerful woman fighter on the planet. It's like not even close, especially after she owned Holly Holm, the woman who famously knocked out Ronda first.
Yeah.
But Cyborg should just go in the wrestling. She clearly has the fucking body for it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you look at a lot of these girls that have done that. Shayna Baszler, as I'm looking, she's another one now.
She's a big one.
Part of the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah, the Horsewomen.
And with Ronda, and who was the other couple girls that were in there?
Oh, who was it? Sorry.
Because I think they're all somewhat involved in WWE now.
Oh, really?
I know Baszler's there. She's on Raw, or she was on Raw. She might be on SmackDown now. Mm-hmm.
More importantly, if they become the Four Horsewomen again in wrestling, because there've been horsemen in wrestling, right? But
the Four Horsemen,
right, but not horsewomen. And so, who's going to be Archangel?
Well, there kind of has been in wrestling. There was the Four Horsewomen. It was Ric Flair's daughter Charlotte. I believe Sasha Banks. What's her name? Bailey, and I forget the other one. Google it. But yeah, they're and they were actually going to do they were trying to get a Four Horsewomen versus Four Horsewomen of MMA type angle. I heard maybe half a year ago, and just never materialized. So
my question is going to be Apocalypse.
Mutants.
That's an X-Men reference if you didn't know. He seemed
X-Men
confused.
cartoon.
Yeah.
I've heard of the X-Men.
I could do it pretty good. Apocalypse. Here's another guy, though, I see on the list.
An Oscar Wilde. Ooh. Oscar, what's his face? Not
this
Wilde.
gentleman was in WCW.
Oh,
Sren, you might remember this guy. Remember Tank Abbott?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Tank Abbott.
He used to make me mad.
Yeah, yeah. And remember he was with 3 Count, just doing that silly shit. It's like, oh, the boy band that day, and he was like dancing with them and shit. Like, it was pretty bad, dude. He would do the shit, and he oh, you got to dance for me. He loved it, It was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't.
No,
you had Tank Abbott, who was a badass.
Sometimes that happens a lot in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, Tank Abbott, 10 and 15 in MMA, was in WCW.
Oh, God, he lost that much. I didn't realize. I thought he had a pretty good MMA career.
Yeah,
still better than Lights Out Tony.
I mean, I recall he was actually pretty good.
Guess not.
Which made me mad. But.
It's a losing record, but I mean, 25 fights still. I mean, it's better than what we've done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, still better than Lights Out Tony. If you ever saw him fight Randy Couture, that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Lights out in London. Daniel Pooter. Daniel Puder, another guy. I'm bringing him up on here, and a lot of you guys listening will know who he is. He was, he had an 8-0 MMA record according to this list, and he had a legit shoot on Kurt Angle. Now, Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist. I remember watching that back in the day. Kurt Angle came out and did a challenge.
I watched. Sorry.
And shut the fuck up, Brett.
I know. You got me excited.
Kurt Angle came out and he challenges Daniel Pooter. I can't say his name. It's so ridiculous. Daniel Pooty call.
Get him in the Pooter.
Oh man, you got a stinky Pooter. I tell you what, it stinks. I think they're the best dancers, those Pooters.
Oh, shit.
Anyways, so he legit shoots on Kurt Angle when they have this match and puts him in a Kimura lock and damn near breaks Kurt's arm.
Holy shit!
Really pissed off Kurt Angle.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah,
and
he didn't feel that pain in a while.
To the consequences he suffered after that, I believe he was in the match with I don't know if it was the Rumble match or what, but Hardcore Holly and maybe it was JBL. Mm-hmm. Kind of took liberties with him after that, because you fuck around in wrestling. There's boys though. It's predetermined. They'll fuck you up.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. You can do.
So he got his ass kicked and served to him, but and then he wasn't around. He was actually the winner, I think, of the Tough Enough competition. It was either the first or second, and so he was guaranteed a contract. All this shit, lots of upside potential to this guy, but he decided to go in the business for himself, and he got a little receipt on that, and no one knows about Daniel Pooter anymore. Other than that,
was he the second You mean Ultimate Fighter or whatever? Or
no, he WWE did a Tough Enough thing.
Oh, right.
That was kind of like that, and he was the winner of that. And
nice.
Oh, it was Chris Benoit that kicked the shit out of him.
Oh,
I think So he's the crippler, the death dealer, Chris Benoit.
Okay, at least I'm not the only person that made this podcast so dark.
I've already died.
Oh, it was more than the suicide, unfortunately.
Yeah. So moving on, Taka Michinoku, from Kai and Tai, I chop your pee-pee. Val Venus. Looks like he's done a lot in Japan. He's actually still wrestling. I think he's in New Japan right now with a faction called Evil. 0-1 MMA record. So here you go. This crow is for you, Taka.
It's tough to cross over. It's not easy. Speaking of, do you know about Sakuraba's? Do you know Sakuraba?
Sakuraba too? No, I do not.
Oh, the motherfucking Gracie Hunter. Are you familiar?
That sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, the Gracie Hunter.
That's his nickname?
Yeah, the Gracie Hunter, which is a badass. Awesome exactly, because he was the first. Like I said, Dan Severn was almost the person to defeat. He got really, really close. And basically the only thing that kept him from defeating the Gracie was Royce's father was right there if you fucking tap, I disown you.
Politics.
Exactly. And so he made it out of that one. However, when he fought motherfucking Sakuraba, who's like one of the funnest people ever to watch in MMA ever. Like, especially when people are like down on the ground and like kicking up and stuff, he will fucking like jump over them and just start kicking them in the head. And that's back in pride fighting. But no, he beat Royler Gracie. And that was the first Gracie's feat in like 40 years or some crazy shit.
Good
like
Gracie, how many are there?
And then he went out and beat the man, fucking Royce Gracie.
Hey, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. That's how it works.
I don't think he became a Gracie, but
I think he came in a Gracie.
Oh shit!
Outfit.
That's how they feel.
A Gracie Gee. Brett, I don't know if you were aware of this. I actually just found out about this. Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh yes,
got his ass whooped too. That there is actual footage. If you guys go on YouTube and Google Bam Bam Bigelow MMA, kind of sucks because I was a big fucking fan of him, and he was for a big guy. I remember he used to do like the cartwheels and shit.
Oh,
in the ring.
Yeah, you figure he's really athletic
cool.
enough to do some damage.
He fought Lawrence Taylor. LT.
That's awesome.
How much coke's in me?
Right. I bet you 4 bricks of coke.
Yeah, right. Dave Bautista. Here's a big successful name in the world of pro wrestling. Former world champion. He is what is he? Drax the Destroyer in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep. Also, awesome acting performance in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
I mean, it's a bit slow for some people, but that beginning is fucking awesome with him.
I have to check that out.
Just watch the beginning and tune out.
He's got
I enjoyed it, but it's not for everybody.
He has a stellar MMA record of 1-0.
I'm done.
I remember seeing that fight. I think he fought some fucking flake, dude.
Oh, but we skipped over. I want to go back to Kurt Angle real quick because you're saying you watched those old Olympic. I couldn't believe how you can't really find his old Olympic shit except for the final championship match, which is pretty fucking.
He won
boring.
there with a broken freaking neck.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Okay, that makes a lot more sense because it looked like it was a stalemate, and they really couldn't. He kind of like eked out the win, but that's actually very impressive. Now that I realize he had a fucking broken
Kurt
neck.
Angle's legit, too legit to quit. Here's one. Bobby Lashley. Now this is kind of more of the more successful wrestling to MMA crossovers that there was. Strikeforce and Bellator, he worked for them. I actually believe he just finished up his Bellator contract. 15-2 record. I think didn't he beat Bob Sapp?
Yep.
Yeah. Lashley, he's kind of getting the raw end. No pun intended on Monday Night Raw. He just re-debuted back with the company, first time in 10 years, and now he's just been booked into the fucking dirt, you know? Like, instead of coming back to be, like, a legit, tough badass like he should have been, he's the Black Brock Lesnar, you know?
Right, yeah, Black Lesnar.
And setting that shit up. Yeah. Bork Laser. Bork Laser. And setting up that feud. They're doing something now where they're goofing on, like, his sisters, and it's like dudes dressed in fucking drag, and it's just like people are booing him and shit now, and it sucks because he was in TNA. Right. Which he just left probably 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, he was booked really strong,
right?
You know, and they involved his MMA career into the wrestling. You know, they'd let you know about that and like how this dude is legit. It helps sell the fucking belief that this guy's gonna fuck someone up,
right?
Because he already looks like $1 million fucking dollars.
Right.
But yeah, Bobby Lashley, shout out to you. I'm sorry you're getting booked into the fucking dirt, boy.
Getting Derek Rose. Womp, womp.
He's getting rosed. CM Punk.
Oh shit! Let's start.
Where
do we begin?
Oh god.
So I was actually curious. Can you explain more? Because I listened to your podcast, your wonderful podcast the year before, and how come he doesn't necessarily do it for you, if you will? Just not a CM Punk guy. Maybe just hate white people.
Yeah, right.
Him and Conor McGregor. I like my white people from America. Fuck those.
He never. There were moments when he wrestled.
Chicago native. You figured you give him at least a leg up there.
Yeah, but he's one of those straight edge guys, and you know, no offense to people who live their life like that. I mean, because that's cool. Do what you want.
Some tension in the room, Justin. You're getting some tension in the room.
I've hung around. I play a lot of shows with these motherfuckers, and a lot of them are dicks. They think they're better than you. People.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
You know,
well, that goes into the thing. It's like straight edge would have been fine if you just use it for another reason to be a snob.
And his version of punk rock is like rancid, and I just can't get down like that.
Oh no,
you know,
dude. And you sorry to talk about another podcast.
All the small things. Like his MMA record, it's gonna be really small after this fucking defeat. I don't know.
What's the fucking rancid song?
I would like to like CM Punk. It's not that I really do or don't. He's just kind of there.
He's a super nerd.
Yeah, he's there.
Cool.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I think we would have in common, but I'd like to have him on the show sometime. So, Phil
from
Brooks, if you're
I don't
ever
really care
listening,
for him.
well, I don't. Just because I don't, I don't like him per se as a wrestler. Doesn't
Mm-hmm. Well, how come you don't like him as a wrestler? Like you mean like the identity, or like you don't like his actual wrestling?
No, I thought he's been in some
cool fights.
Some cool fights. Really good. He's been booked pretty good. He's had some cool shit when he did the pipe bomb thing. That was kind of groundbreaking because WWE was very stale at the time, and he came out and he wore the Stone Cold shirt, and he was just like telling it like it is,
right?
So
gotta give him props for that, for sure.
I don't know. I'm not a huge CM Punk guy, but if you want to come on the show sometime and make me one, by all means,
win Justin
doors
over,
are open.
Get the juice treatment,
wet him up.
Well, obviously, I have to talk about his MMA career because I don't think he even liked himself there.
Well, he fought that Mickey Gall.
Mickey Gall.
I will tell you this, even though I'm not a huge fan. It was the whole aspect of being a wrestling fan and seeing him come out, and he came out to the Cult of Personality,
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
And I was getting kind of pumped, and I didn't really know what to expect because the dude was training his ass off.
Sure.
And, a lot of people were dogging on him because he was trying, he's going to get his ass kicked. You know what? So what? That you're probably right. But at least he had the fucking cojones to go and do this.
That was major.
And he's not exactly a spring chicken anymore. I mean, he's got to be getting close. He's got to be late 30s.
Oh, yeah.
So you're starting
33, 34, I think all he is.
No, he's later than that, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Punk's old, man.
Damn. To go into MMA like that? Yeah. Oh, that was a few years ago now.
Well, yeah, and he's getting ready for his second fight, I believe, at, 225? Something like that. If I'm wrong, you guys can let me know in the comments.
203, but he... see what it would have been totally fine for him to transition like that, especially if you're going to be that dedicated, and he's clearly dedicated, especially going out after that fucking embarrassment. But he should have did amateur fights first.
Yeah,
it was really dumb to just go right into pro, especially because he can't do amateur fights now. Because once you do a pro, you can't go back. It's crazy,
and that's going back to like you're saying, like the way UFC's booking now. It's kind of becoming more wrestling based because they know he's a name and a draw, and they don't have that.
Right. If you can get Twitter followers, like you're going to be shot up into the belt. You're going to get like.
I mean, is that bad business? No. I mean, no.
It can be.
It can be, but because, you know what? Look at the buy rates. It helps.
Sure. They get buy rates now, but like if you cry wolf, it can kind of turn into a cry wolf situation. Especially like if you said you'll lose that like top of the mountain, if you will, if anybody can just get to the top of the mountain.
I think what it was a lot of actual MMA guys who are not satisfied with their spots on the card or whether they're on the card or not. That's who it was pissed.
Oh, absolutely.
We fucking been fighting all our lives. And they have a legit gripe. But like even Bobby Lashley came out and said, he's like, that's why you see a lot of these super fights now. Oh, yeah. Because the UFC does, and all these other, they don't have anybody that are superstars. You have Conor McGregor. Ronda Rousey's in WWE now. Right. Brock Lesnar, who knows if he'll come back. He'll sell the shit out of whatever. But he's not a real true MMA
like
superstar. He came from wrestling. Now, did he become world champion? Yes. But he's not,
they still got GSP.
I heard he came back and he won the belt and then he quit again.
No, he dropped the belt. Oh, no, he's fighting again.
He is going to fight?
Yeah. He just dropped the middleweight belt because he was just like too big and slow.
He was in that new Kickboxer movie.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
right.
I like he was like a drunk asshole.
Captain America too.
Was he?
Civil War. Yeah, they fight him in the beginning when they attack the ship or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
not Civil War, but Winter Soldier.
Oh, I didn't see Winter Soldier.
Oh, Civil War. Okay, cool.
He said Swivel War.
Swivel War.
Up and down, turn
I just see him like
around.
In chairs just spinning around like Vision and Iron Man.
You're talking about UFC versus like all the pro wrestling stuff,
right?
With UFC, I think a lot of times it's feast or famine. Like they either have a bunch of really good guys. Right. And a couple superstars. Like I remember maybe 3 years ago, a lot of these commentators were talking and discussing future fights, and they were just fired up at every event. And every event, you'd at least have like one. Like the main event would be good, and maybe the top 2 fights would be good, and you might get a couple other ones. There's still a lot of good fighters. There's a lot of good fighters against a lot of good fighters, so there isn't a superstar. And Conor McGregor kind of took the promotional side to another level.
Oh, of course.
And you can't compete with it, where it used to be like, it just used to be different. It used to be hype. People used to watch it, but now if it's not like global hype, he's gonna fight Mayweather, or he's gonna fight.
Oh God,
Jesus is coming back, and he's gonna fight Jesus. There's a hill, and even I think that the whole bus thing was a miscalculation on his part to try to continue that hype train.
Exactly, right. That's exactly.
So he just messed up, and then he went into that because him and maybe I don't know if there's anyone else that can do WWE or pro wrestling type promotion in UFC and get away with it, because they all play that game like the guy that GSP beat
Michael Bisping.
Bisping used to do it. The Diaz brothers take it personal, but
Diaz brothers are pretty good at it, but it's not
they're
like an act.
They're just they're just dicks. They're just really, really intense.
He's a dick.
There is a guy that you should look out for. He actually just fought Friday night. Michael Venom Page. Have you ever heard of MVP?
Son of Montalvo Porter.
No, this guy's from England, and
that's right.
Dude. His showboating is so on another level that it is like he makes Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz look like stoic. Because
I love the Spider, man.
Oh yeah, Anderson Silva was the shit, but this guy. Did you ever see him fight Nick Diaz? Did you see that fight, speaking of showboating? We just talked about this on my podcast.
Who?
Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz.
I did see that, yeah.
With fucking beach pose. Just lays down on the fucking
Das
ground.
Wunderkind, Alex, right?
But no, dude, just to give you an idea how ridiculous fucking Michael Venom Page is, after he beat Cyborg, he threw a fucking Pokemon ball into the ring. And it's like, I caught me a Cyborg.
Dude, what do you think about that, nuts. Demon Boy? You're a big Pokemon guy. Right. Gotta catch him out, you Pokemon.
So
gotta touch him.
Definitely look on Michael Venom Page for just out of this world showboating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on Michael Venom Page, you're saying?
Yeah, he just fought. It was awesome.
I think it's good that I think what's going to actually end up saving the UFC is that his belief. It sounds stupid, but Joe Rogan type shows. So Joe Rogan is so in love, and he's with MMA, and he's actually created a stable of his own of podcasters and online content creators that are competing with all these other sports stations, at least on a cultural awareness level, people that are into MMA, and all they do all day long is talk about how good these fights are and how good these fighters are. So they're really, really good ambassadors, because if you wait on somebody else or the fighters themselves, that's not their job.
No.
It's really tough to promote.
Oh, of course. Especially we have to focus so much on that.
So they might actually save and evolve the fandom of MMA.
Especially because Brendan Schaub is basically a spinoff of Joe Rogan, and he's hugely successful now. The
and he's awesome at it too.
And I love watching them guys when they're talking. They watch Ric Flair videos, and Brandon Schaub's he was so taken back by. He's like, dude, that's the legit. That's the real shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's like, that's where it's at. He's like, Ric Flair is the fucking man, and it gets me pumped up. Yeah, watching
it's so fun. Yeah,
I wear these leather shoes. What's he say? I spent more money on women than spilled liquor.
An island of fresh gators and Cadillacs and meat coats. Just all sorts of. Chael Sonnen was actually pretty good. Yeah, he was the first hype with Anderson Silva. That was some of the best shit ever.
He's done some good commentary with GFW, Global Force Wrestling.
But he kind of peaked there for a little bit, and then Conor McGregor came in and just blew him out of the
water. And I believe he's going to I call it the graveyard, which I shouldn't, because I'm not trying to rag on this promotion, because I think it's cool they do this. But Bellator, it's like every huge superstar or UFC Hall of Famer, they're the ones putting on the quote-unquote dream matches. Even if the guys are older and past their prime, they're still putting on those
Everybody
matches.
wants to still see that shit. They're still,
who is it that just fought?
Everybody.
Who's the big Fedor, yeah.
Fedor just fought Frank Mir, knocked him out. It's good to see Fedor again.
You got knocked the fuck out!
I got to see him get knocked out by, we can go back to Identity Crisis people here. I got to see him knocked out by Dan Henderson.
I saw Dan Henderson get knocked up by Bob Sapp.
Oh. Did Bob Sapp beat Dan fucking Henderson?
From behind.
Did you see knocked what?
Knocked up.
You didn't make a mistake. Okay.
That's right.
I see you, Wallace.
You can't see me. Juicina over here.
Are you out with a law?
What's left on that list?
Quentin Rampage Jackson.
Oh God.
He was another thing with fucking Tito Ortiz, and it was really bad. He came in and did some kind of 5-on-5 bullshit match. He was a member of the Main Event Mafia, the newer version, and he had a pretty decent MMA record, 37-13.
Oh, his MMA fights are fucking amazing, especially in Pride.
Yeah. I miss Pride. Pride was the shit where you can kick dudes on the ground. Like,
yeah, it was almost perfect. Where they still did the weird wrestling thing, where you gotta like have a position or whatever when the round starts or whatever. But no, and you couldn't use elbows for some reason in Pride. But it's hilarious to still kick somebody in the fucking head, soccer kick. But Rampage was famous for picking somebody up and slamming him and knocking him out, which is an amazing clip. Go Rampage.
And speaking of Pride, there's another guy, Sean O'Haire, in WCW, like towards the end, there's a tag team, Ginger Jindrak and O'Haire. A couple of young dudes, really tall, kind of big, well put together guys. The way we like it here on JP Dub, well put together. Went into WWE for a little bit. He had a really cool gimmick. He was like the fucking devil's advocate type gimmick where it was actually really cool, and he's a really weird dude. You guys have to go Google that. Sean O'Haire's devil's advocate gimmick.
That was some continued wrestling I was watching, was fucking Undertaker and the goddamn Acolytes. I thought that was the coolest shit ever.
Oh,
Making it totally
dude.
Evil.
Yeah, the Ministry of Darkness.
I want them to be demons and shit. Like, fuck a motorcycle. Right on Satan's tail.
Everybody knows that JP Dub hates the American Badass.
That sounds like the worst, most... But anyway.
Sean O'Haire actually ended up leaving WWE shortly after that. And he was actually, this is a little tidbit for you guys that don't know, that are listening. When Ric Flair and Triple H were putting together their stable of Evolution, and it was going to be Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and they needed like a big guy. And Sean O'Haire was supposed to be that guy. And they actually filmed like little vignettes and pictures. And then for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. And then who should replace him but another guy who's been on this list, Dave Bautista.
Oh, yeah.
So Sean O'Haire leaves. He goes. He went and had a couple fights in Pride. I believe he was in Pride. He had a 4-2 MMA record, 0-4 in kickboxing. Yeah, he in WCW. He was a part of the Natural Born Thrillers group.
Holy shit! Some minor earthquakes here in Indiana.
Yeah,
borrow some of that fault line from California.
Tugboat, typhoon, and earthquake. That's why I did the start of the song.
But Typhoon was actually Asian, right?
No,
god damn it!
He was the Shockmaster. God damn it, Bret.
One of the natural disasters were I know.
Bret the Hitman fell short.
Fell short indeed.
But long story short, we'll get out of Sean O'Haire. He killed himself.
Oh shit! Well, let's hit the runway here, or the runway, the exit. Where were the
exit stage left?
Let's just stick with that. Sorry,
Brian Urkelacher. Brian Urkelacher. There's been a lot of botching on today's show.
Pronunciation's not our game, but elbows is our. Anyway, we'll go. This
oh my god, a foreign object! There's shit everywhere.
We have to talk about Mean Gene LaBelle, the man at our opening clip, that crazy old man in the beginning. As silly as it seems, you have to give him ridiculous mad props. The true OG.
Dude, I don't have to fucking do shit,
Oh,
Bret.
You're doing so shit fucking before he fucking comes all your face after breaking your sternum. You better do some shit.
Yeah,
I wouldn't fuck with that old man.
I wish he was my grandpa.
I mean, just to give you, the motherfucker trained Bruce Lee in grappling.
Yeah,
that's some legit fucking.
You train the dragon. I mean, you're hitting on a soft spot.
That's what I'm saying.
Bruce Lee has a sweet spot in my heart as a child.
As he should in everyone's heart, because Bruce Lee's a fucking man. And he pretty much had the first MMA match ever recorded.
Yes, exactly.
That boxer. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Absolutely. Goddamn right.
I don't think he even incorporated wrestling, actual Greco-Roman and wrestling.
Catch wrestling,
yeah.
Sure.
What do you call it? Catch can type wrestling into his
which
technique.
Was like basically jiu-jitsu before jiu-jitsu.
Jeet Kune Do was evolved. It was an evolution of all these different styles.
Absolutely.
You guys know the Bruce Lee story.
Oh, absolutely. And not only did he do grappling, but he was also a judo practitioner, a huge judo practitioner. Hence how he ended up training Ronda herself. Mm-hmm. Along with the person you might know, Roddy Piper. I think you heard of him.
Oh, man, the rowdy one, the lover.
Yeah, he's got a belt from Mean Gene LaBelle himself.
Really?
Yes. And Rowdy, did you know he was a Golden Glove boxer?
Yeah, I did know that.
That's fucking, what a badass.
Do you know I seen him wrestle Bret the Hitman Hart, WrestleMania 8 for the Intercontinental title?
Should we just get some peak spandex on me, put the wig on you, hot rod shirt, and we're just gonna.
As long as I can be hot rod where he did himself as half blackface. Controversy.
And then you can give me the even though I know it was a Rowdy Piper's move, but you can give me the torture rack again, circa 2009 or whatever in the decrypt basement.
Yeah, let's go over that real quick. So this was 2009
for the music.
This was when fuck it, we'll do it right now. One of my older bands, Decrypt, local Northwest Indiana grindcore band. Yeah. We were the shit. But now check out Handsome Prick. Shout out to the Prick.
Wearing it, baby.
I like that shirt. You guys will check it out in the pictures too and lust over it. I remember at the time, because everybody's threatened, you can attest to this. You've seen some mosh pits now. And I believe
crazy
that was
shit. Maruda show.
Yeah, you've seen everybody, all these hardcore kids will do the fucking...
Oh, God, I hate it.
I hate that shit. So my answer to that was, I'm going to start fucking doing pro wrestling moves to guys in the pit. Cooler. And, dude, I almost broke Ratface's nose. I drop kicked him in the basement. Fucked him up a little bit. But we're going back to, this was a show at your house, right? Was this that show?
No. This is at Decrypt House in Hobart.
Oh,
that's when you did the torture rack. At my house, you did the fucking DDT to. Is Rafe G-Off? Is that Rafe?
Oh, yeah.
You DDT'd him in my fucking basement.
Yeah.
Floor. And scared the living shit out of me. And I was going to say this for a music podcast, but that was like my first impression of Justin. And then like. I can't wait to tell Joe this, and then if I ever meet him, and then so I see that crazy motherfucker do that, and then the next time I see him is at Midwest Fuck Fest where you're selling merch, and he's all fucking serious and shit. I don't know if you're going through some stuff back then, but like I wasn't saying I was scared, but I was cautious.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like, I'll take the shotgun. He's like, all right, that's fucking $5 or whatever.
You owe me $5 still.
No. I came back and I was like, hey man, like I think you gave me too much money to change that, and you're like, man, that's very fucking honest of you. You don't see honesty too much these days.
Did I say that?
Oh yeah.
I must have been drunk.
No, it was early in the morning, and I was like, all right, I think he might spare me if he goes on a shooting spree. This is great.
Fucking crazy!
So, and then cut to 2 years later, he's giving me the torture rack, and we're good friends.
And the mosh pit. It was
I'm like, okay, this guy's a silly bastard. I'm all right.
Hell yeah.
But, so we got to finish off with good old Ronda Rousey and Brock.
Okay, we'll touch on those real quick.
Yeah.
Ronda, we've kind of dogged on her.
How's her wrestling career going?
It's going all right now. She's not doing too much in ring. I think she's going to be at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view against Nia Jax. I'm not a monster. Which is The Rock's cousin. She's a big girl. She's world champion.
Oh shit.
We don't shame the bodies around here though.
No.
They're going to be fighting. She's actually getting a women's title shot at this pay-per-view in Chicago, by the way.
Shit.
So we kind of knocked on her a little bit. I was skeptical of her career. WrestleMania came around like it was a couple months ago, and she had a match where she was teaming with Kurt Angle against Stephanie and Triple H. And it was actually, she came out, she looked good. She fucking, to me, she has the ability, once she has enough timing, because she's a super fan.
Yeah,
that's awesome, and that's what kind of, it is cool, but you can't hate on her for that. But it does kind of piss me off when I see her come down and like, she's just super smiley, and you could tell she's just so happy to be there and doing that. I try not to, but it's like she's got to get through this shit. Sell it for me a little bit.
I mean, she right now she's second, but she could be the best.
She could end up. If you look at a guy like Kurt Angle, who came from the world of wrestling, real Olympic wrestling, and he had never done pro wrestling, never watched it. And guys like Jim Ross had said they had never seen somebody adapt so quick and become he's probably, if not the best technical or just pro wrestlers of all time.
Nice.
Because he was entertaining. He's believable as fuck.
Oh, wow.
He was a fucking machine, dude.
He was actually entertaining. What a badass.
And I think Ronda has the ability to get there. So, she's doing all right now. I'll give her time. Mad respect to her for trying to do this and going to Roddy Piper and asking for permission to use the Rowdy name because she was a huge Roddy Piper fan, which I'm pretty sure we all are here.
Yeah,
Roddy Piper.
That guy's crazy.
Fuck yeah. Rest in peace.
But no, Ronda and her MMA career was clearly a splash.
It was stellar. But that's the thing with it's not predetermined that we know of.
Which, by the way, thanks for giving. I won $150 off Ronda. Thank you very much, because I knew she was going to ask you if I had Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, but that's the thing with MMA. You can be on top of the world forever. Sometime you're going to fall sometime.
Which I've been dying for Conor to fight this Russian, because I think the Russian's going to beat him. So I want to bet against Conor, because he's going to get all the fucking.
I like to see anybody beat Conor at this point.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Ronda, she's got a big future ahead of her. Now going into
Mr. Sore Chest himself,
Cocklogging and Brock Lesnar himself,
which his name already sounds like a superstar. Like, you don't need a nickname for him.
Ridiculously
athletic,
huge country boy that could probably just fuck up anybody.
Except for Uberring and Cain Velasquez.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
and pretty much Shane Carwin, to be honest. Well, remember you watched that shit in my house.
That was a good fight. He still won.
Yeah, because of the most ridiculous. But no, I'm not going to take
it. Once Brock gets on top of you, you're kind of done. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying in that second round, I could have took down Shane Carwin.
Well, look what he did to Mark Hunt, dude.
Oh yeah.
I don't care if he was fucking petted out or not.
Well, no,
I want to pet you.
It was funny. I hated Brock so much during the UFC. I remember Justin be like, "How can I cheer for Brock, Bret?"
Yeah.
I was like, because as like an MMA guy, I was like, because he was so overhyped. He was still good,
right?
But like. Because I'll give him mad props for UFC 100. What he did to Frank Mir was fucking, especially because what I loved it, because Frank Mir was giving him shit about like when he fought the first time. He's like your little fucking sister just doing those little rabbit punches over and over again. And it was funny too. Frank Mir lost his announcing career because of that, because he said on the air, he's like, in UFC 100, you will see the first UFC murder. I'm going to murder Brock Lesnar in the ring.
What a dumbass,
Frank. And then I love and I loved in that fight, Brock Lesnar.
They fired him because he lied.
You fucking lord. Yellow journalism, Frank Mir.
Frank Mir's got the juice all over his face.
And but I love like Brock Lesnar almost answered it. He's like, "Oh, you don't want the little sister punches now, do you?" And then like with his whole arm, just holds him down with his whole arm. Just giant.
How about the lunch boxes?
Punches right. Oh, dude, hammer. Oh, he fucked Frank up so good. So no, it was funny. I was hating Brock for so long.
Right.
And then when he lost, I was like, oh, I want him back, because he's like the Prey was the best heel. Like he was,
and Brock was legit too. I mean, he was
absolutely no. I don't want to take her at like he was a one-trick pony, but it was a pretty big pony.
Yeah, I mean, he's a hard guy to
right.
And I think with him being he was never fully healthy on his first run.
I have to point out, have you ever observed that he's basically Biff for fucking Future? He looks like him. They even have kind of the same voice, like kind of a higher tone for like how big they are.
I could totally see that.
Totally Biff, MMA star.
I was always cheering for Brock though, because I was a wrestling dude, and for everybody dogs wrestling. I don't get it. I don't know why. They don't sit there for even like girls or the fucking men out there that watch soap operas or any TV show that is fake or written or scripted. They'll sit there, they might love that, but they don't dog that.
Yeah.
Where they dog the shit out of wrestling. It's like, dude, it's just another form of entertainment. Right. If you like it, great. If you don't, fuck off.
Like Doug Stanhope said, it's all fucking stupid. Let me just have my stupid.
Yeah, let me have my fucking stupid.
Football's plenty fucking stupid.
Yeah,
but it's still I love to watch it.
Yeah, Demon Boy likes to play football, right?
Yes.
All right. The Demon Boy. He's a little drunk right now. Been drinking too much of that Fireball.
He still showed more passion for the sport than fucking Arian Foster. So
cheap shot. That's a low blow segment right there.
I'm not a wolf you can handle, Arian.
I'm a wolf.
Do you know that story where he got ridiculous Twitter fucking traffic because he's like, I could take out a wolf. I could totally beat up a wolf.
Only Danzig could beat up wolves.
And your father and your mother.
That's right.
Button heads. But no, I do have to mention, I did watch Brock's college career a bit. Mm-hmm. And he had this one match where he beat the fuck out of the guy, but he still was like frustrated he couldn't finish him.
Right.
And then after that, like it was pretty much, it was his size, like, because I didn't. Is that like a problem with wrestling, like the actual wrestling? Sorry, I don't mean. You know what I mean? And like collegiate
problems
with collegiate wrestling,
paraplegic wrestling. Is that possible?
Double
such poor taste.
But where like you get points for escaping, basically, and it just seems like that's the way you should go. Just like especially if you're big like Brock, like try and take me down, and then just fucking escape.
Well, pro wrestling isn't based on points.
I was talking about the
collegiate.
I know. I was just throwing. He was talking about the Colgate.
Are you having a laugh?
Oh, we're having a laugh.
having a bit of a laugh.
I like that. Give me a little heart in my pee-pee area.
That's what I do. So, but no, and then Brock poor losses because you were talking about earlier with good old and see he gets it. He deserves his steroid match against Mark Hunt because clearly fucking Alistair Overeem, aka Ubereem, was on a lot of horse meat fighting him.
yeah.
Oh yeah. He was that. If you don't want to give the asterisk towards steroids, Alistair Ubereem might be the best of all time
for sure.
Heavyweight because he just would fuck up anybody.
They came out after that and said he tested. Didn't he test for something during that fight? Or
later. Or it was at least the fight after that. I mean, he was clearly
he was shooting straight in that foot, so he knew where to kick.
Oh, you should see old and new pictures of Alistair. It's fucking hilarious.
So the kind of wind things down here, if we had to all agree, I would the biggest crossover probably. I mean, if you look at box office draw and everything, it's got to be Brock Lesnar.
Oh, of course.
I think too, and I've said this on here a couple times. Especially now with Lashley being in the WWE. Not being under contract to Bellator, it would be fucking ignorant not to have that super fight.
Of course.
Whether it's in the UFC or the WWE. Like, I think if WWE was smart and they kind of wanted to do something else, throw your fucking shit, do whatever you got to do political and logistic-wise to get testing and shit done to have a real match happen, but have it happen under the WWE umbrella.
Oh,
you know?
Oh, Dana's such a fucking...
Break character for a fucking second and be like, hey, we're going to put on a legit fight with two people who have legit MMA experience. Lashley, who has actually a better fucking record than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
15-2. You know, we already talked about that.
That's why we're saying if Ronda can do well, she could surpass Brock Lesnar because she clearly had way more ups in the fucking UFC game.
And the same thing. Throw the women in that too. WWE is in a position now where they're hiring these people that don't do it so often because a lot of them are going to wrestling now because they don't want to get their fucking brains bashed in anymore. You know, you still have the risk of getting severely injured or hurt doing the wrestling, but...
Another person who should go in the wrestling is Rumble Johnson. I don't know if you've ever seen that motherfucker. He's terrifying. Is
that like Kimbo Slice? R.I.P.
No, he's a little scarier than Kimbo.
Kimbo! But I think it's safe to say Brock Lesnar, the biggest MMA wrestling crossover probably of all time. Most successful.
To top, if you will.
Yeah, it really will be. We'll see what happens in the future, but Bret, I'd like to thank you for coming on today. You got any...
Justin, thanks for having me, man.
No problem. Bret the Hitman Short. You want to plug your show one more time? Where can people find it at?
Yeah. Check it out on iTunes, SoundCloud. We gotta get up on YouTube. We're gonna try and do that soon. And if you're turned off by the ridiculous logo, just so you're warned, we'll probably be changing it soon.
All right. Okay. And what's the name of your show again?
Out there. It's GG Stalin and the Absurdity Junkies.
Okay.
So like the dictator, but then put the double G's in front.
You guys run any Twitter or Facebook or anything like that?
Yeah, we got a Facebook group, GG Stalin and the Absurdity Junkies.
Okay.
Let's get on that. I'm staying away from Twitter. It's just too toxic. Facebook's toxic enough.
Oh, I like to run Twitter, As for Juice Pro Wrestling goes, you can follow us on Twitter at JPW Podcast. You can email us any suggestions, criticism, love, whatever you have at jpwpodcast@gmail.com. I double added that if you like that. We're on Instagram at Juice Pro Wrestling. You can find us on YouTube. All you do is search Juice Pro Wrestling. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff under the Green Door Network.
And on Twitter, right?
Yeah. I just said Twitter.
I have some news.
Dude.
I just want to say
we were totally there.
You're on Twitter. I was just gonna say you're on Twitter because you're a bigger man than me, Justin.
Well, and we also have a Facebook group, Juice Pro Wrestling Universe. But a lot of the Twitter action is where you guys can find a lot of updates from all the stuff we talk about pro wrestling wise. And probably we might throw in a little bit of MMA here.
Absolutely. I'll definitely come on and talk
just
about
for
MMA.
You, Bret.
Please do, because as you can see, my wrestling is
MMA is so fucking fake.
Fake as shit.
It's fake. It's fucking. You mean
I
to
watch
tell
it
me?
for the stories, Justin. I watch it for the stories.
Brock Lesnar cannot lose.
That sword on his chest is totally fake.
That sore on his chest?
Sword.
Oh, okay.
The sword on his chest is totally fake.
Both sentences work.
Yes, they do.
It also has brass knuckles.
I believe he got a sore on his liver.
He does have brass knuckles. Thanks, Steve, boy.
Ubereem.
Hell yeah.
Well, as of so this is episode 10.
Yes.
As of episode 10, Juice Pro Wrestling
dropping that dime.
Juice Pro Wrestling is Green Door Network's Green Door Network's Sunday show. But as of episode 10, Juice Pro Wrestling has its own iTunes page. It's on Google Play. It's on
What?
It's on, surprise, iHeartRadio. Yeah, everything. So,
everybody, please go and subscribe to all those. Leave comments, rate us on all that stuff. Even if you don't like wrestling, we like to have a good time, and it's just wrestling's kind of our basis.
It's GG Stalin approved.
It's our fucking way of life, Go on there, leave us comments, leave us, like I said, criticism. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your fucking ex-lovers what's going on with JP Dub, and fucking have a good time with us, man. We like to have a good time.
Oh, so, I had the best time.
Yeah, I did. You really had a good time?
Such a good time. Oh,
that's cool. I love you too. The honesty comes out. So for episode 10, we're dropping the dime on that motherfucker right now for Demon Boy, for Bret the Hitman Short, and Sretton the Savage. This is Big Juice Stud signing off. And guess what, guys? You know what it's time for?
These nuts.
Well, but of course. But hey, as we like to close it out every week, we get a little wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up. You gonna do sex to me?